and welcome everyone to our third episode of our Guangzhou Sourcing Monthly. Today again with me are Georg and Kars. Hi everyone.
Hi Clemens.
And today we are going to speak about what is actually better to use, a trade company or a factory. In many cases, people come to China and they really try to look for a factory. And today we want to discuss whether, sometimes it might be a better solution to use a trade company instead of a factory. Yeah, that's our topic today. Kars, what is your opinion? When you go on Alibaba, do you think they're like most of the companies on Alibaba are factories, or are they mostly trade companies?
Oh, that's a good question. To be honest, I don't know about this statistic. I can tell you my experience in general. That is, before getting real experience in China, I would always search for factories only because trading companies gave me the feeling of paying too much. But this opinion changed over time. The reason is mainly that the trading company might do a lot of business with the factory and has a better negotiation position. What do you think, Georg?
Trading companies are a middleman between whoever is selling goods, a supplier, and whoever is buying goods. So if the trading company is specialized on the one thing that you are looking for, you might get a company that has many suppliers for the same good and could offer you a good solution, even a good selection of similar products. So in some case, a trading company could give you a wider range of things that you can buy. From our perspective, sitting in China, it is also a middleman that is not always a useful one. It depends for us sometimes on the situation when we choose to work with a trading company or a factory.
Yeah, understood. Do you also think that the complexity of the product is a factor here?
Yeah, the complexity of a product could steer you in both directions, either choosing to work with a factory. If, for example, the product is a very technical product that requires a lot of engineering by the manufacturer. So there you are better off with a factory that has the real engineering department. It could also be, if it is a more simple product, you could be better off with a trading company that gives you a lot of different suppliers for a similar product. It depends on the case-to-case situation.
Now, what I just wanted to point out at this situation is that we as Guangzhou Sourcing are also a trade company, right? So we are nothing else than a trade company. What is the advantage our clients are taking from us? It's mostly that they're having one contact person for a wide product range. On the hotel hospitality projects we're working on, our clients are able to source or procure through us light, sanitary ware, furniture, OS&E and more. So it simplifies a lot of things. So I think that's also something that Georg tried to explain. It really depends on your project. If you are looking to source one kind of product in a very high quantity, I think it is absolutely right to go directly and find a factory. Find the best factory you can find, try to negotiate a good price, and you're probably good to go. If you are looking at a lot of different products in one range of category, let's say electronical appliances, you might not find all of them with one factory. So you might be better off to just find a good trade company that can have all these cars, you mentioned it in the beginning, right? Have all the good relations to a lot of factories and who can help you to simplify this whole process.
Yeah, and this is also specifically the case for very complex products like watches. We have a client that sources watches from China. We actually connected him to a middleman who knows all the small little factories that produce tiny components that make up for the whole watch. So it's almost impossible as a foreigner to connect to all those individual small factories by yourself without using a foreign intermediary.
Maybe one more thing, the main point that distinguishes a trading company and a factory is a factory has a certain specialization and a certain machinery that cannot easily be switched. They cannot easily switch between products. For example, if it is a factory that is doing metallic products, they cannot suddenly do plastic products. If they are involved in molding, they cannot be doing PCBA. They cannot easily switch between the different categories of products. And this is their limitation. Usually, a factory would be a huge benefit in terms of price and specialization of one product, but their biggest limitation is the range of product and accessories. They are not able to supply everything around the product. And there you might be better off with a trading company.
Also, something I have realized over the years is that many factories in China don't even try to invest a lot or invest heavily into sales. So often they don't have a big sales department. They don't do much advertisement or marketing. They're often not on Alibaba. I think many, especially small specialized factories are not on Alibaba, but instead working with multiple traders in China who are then basically their gate to the world, who are helping them to promote those products, get orders, etc. Is that also something you have experienced?
For sure. I think also we talked about this before, but the fee or the cost of being on Alibaba is pretty high. So depending on the size of the factory, they might not be there. I agree also with George's explanation that a big factory is not going to start the product line just because you want to order a certain product. I mean, if the MOQ is right, maybe, but if the trading company that works directly with the factory has it in stock, it might be quicker and even more affordable to buy through the trading company.
I have an example. I've been visiting a battery factory in Dongguan, and the battery is a kind of a very special electrical product. So you need certain resources that are not manufactured in-house. They are being bought through trading companies or directly from dedicated suppliers. Inside the battery factory, there's the final assembly. They are focusing only on this process. They don't have a sales department. They are working with other trading companies, preferably at the moment Chinese trading companies, to get the goods out of the country. I think this is a very, very common picture if you go through any factory in the Guangdong Greater Bay Area. The factories have their specialization and they are not comfortable leaving this zone. In terms of sourcing, that's maybe a question to Kars. When you are on Alibaba and you look through the offers that you can see there, can you identify a trading company and a factory? I'm just curious.
I mean, you never know for sure, but if there's factory lines displayed and, one of you guys visits the factory, we know for sure, right? But you're right. It's sometimes it's not completely clear, not completely transparent. But I've learned it's not necessarily a big deal because we sourced glassware from a factory before, and glassware pieces had to be put in boxes, nice Christmas packages actually, so high quality boxes. We had those boxes sourced by the glass factory. The glass factory had actually such good relationships with the box factory that we got better prices than the prices we got quoted just by bypassing the glass factory and asking the box factory directly. I mean, you learn it's not necessarily a big deal, but on Alibaba, sometimes hard to distinguish. That's true.
I even had the impression that overall international traders, international businessmen who come to China always have this attitude that they try to find a factory. It's a common thing in China that all the traders are trying to be a factory. They will on Alibaba display pictures of production lines. They will tell you we are a factory, even though you're not a factory. And it can even happen that they take you to a factory, which is not their own factory, but they basically had a deal with the factory. They know each other, and then they just like go there with you, show you the factory and say, yeah, that's our factory. Don't worry, like it's all ours. We do all the production in-house. But in my opinion, I mean, we saw now, or we discussed a lot of advantages of trade companies, like having products in stock, having wider variety, a bigger variety. So in some situations, it might be better to work with the trade companies. Some more trade companies could stand to it that they are trade companies and be honest about it.
Yeah, we usually do some diligence on whether the party we find on Alibaba or a different platform is actually the factory we go to. Maybe you can give the listeners some examples of what we look at.
Due diligence on a supplier is something we do very often, just to evaluate new manufacturers, new suppliers we are considering. In China, once you are in the system and you understand a little bit the ways, it's also very easy to differentiate. So first of all, you have the different entities do have different names. A trade company will always be called already in the company name. Legally, you need to have a different company description than a factory, than a manufacturing entity. So that's a first indication. But there's also a very good tool, online tool, which is basically a big company database of China where we access our information, where we can see a lot of things like, are there outstanding lawsuits? What is the registered capital? How much of this registered capital was actually already paid into the company, etc. where we can also very easily see whether this is actually like a company that is focused on trade or whether it's a real factory. If you're a real factory, you need a manufacturing facility. If you're just having a registered office, then you know for sure that this is not a factory itself. It could be the sales department, which is a separate entity of the factory. In general, we can quite easily figure out whether it's a factory or trade company.
Yeah, Clemens, let me pick up on one thought that you had. So you have been describing the due diligence. Mainly, it is the very technical process of analysis to identify a factory or to distinguish a factory from a trading company.
Yeah, more like an online due diligence I just described, not the physical one. Yeah.
Exactly. So you just use the numbers and the facts you can find to identify or to clarify it for yourself, whether you're dealing with one or the other. There are also other smaller details that you can look up. Yeah, the big sourcing sites like Alibaba, for example, the major one. Everybody who has tried to source some product in China was looking on Alibaba. There you can already try to sort out by verified manufacturer, by verified supplier. So there are some little mechanisms that help you to narrow down your search. Also, you can look for identifiers like the ISO numbers, if this factory has a certain standard of production, if certain standards are included in the company profile or not, but also at the range of the products that the factory is offering. So if you find a lot of different products under one seller, it just cannot be a factory. Simple logic that helps you to exclude unnecessary offers.
Yeah, very good point. Kars, before you give us the outro, could you summarize for our international clients, for the people out there, why should they work with Guangzhou Sourcing, especially like hospitality clients worldwide? Why should they work with us in ways of procurement in China instead of looking themselves for a factory or multiple factories?
Yeah, good question. I think for one, it's a lot of work. If you are sourcing many different kind of products from China, you'll be managing multiple factories. So this is a time-consuming job. So if you can like build into your daily operation, it's fine. But otherwise, outsource it to us. You know, for me personally, you can do a lot on Alibaba. But once you're ready to invest capital, and once you're ready to receive samples, I always send some of you guys to the factory to verify that it's a serious party we're dealing with, and also usually that it is the actual factory, because we usually do high quantities. So it makes sense to work with the factory directly, not to promote ourselves too much, but still also not to downgrade it. It's smart. You're always looking at big capital investments if you're sourcing whole containers. So definitely don't try to save a little bit of money by cutting these steps out. That's, I guess, my takeaway.
Absolutely. Our advantage is that we have a wide network of suppliers that we have worked with, where we know what the quality is. Even though you're ordering samples, in the end, if you haven't worked with a factory before, there's always an uncertainty whether the goods are being delivered in time, an uncertainty, is the quality as you expected. This is also like a risk we can take away because we know our suppliers, we know our factories.
What I would just add is we could take away your headache. So let the headache be ours. We can distinguish for you. We can make the choice for you to work with either the factory or the trading company on case-to-case basis.
I definitely feel that's not necessarily promotional talk, because it's just very comforting to know that when you get the answer from us, it's actually an independent answer. With that, I think we can sign off for this episode. To our listeners, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button to be notified next month for our next episode. And for now, we wish you a good day.